Hey, I was just listening to Mike Florio and Chris Sims talk about the Raiders defense and hiring Gus Bradley. And I know both of them, great folks. So this is not personal, but it is critical. You guys are completely wrong about the Raiders defense, Paul Gunther, Gus Bradley, what happened in 2020. The Raiders really remade their defense uh, in quite a way so that it was faster. They turned over roughly 60% of their defense between 2019 and 2020 with an eye towards speed. What happened was, and I have to give Paul Gunther credit for this, they did play great defense, better than 2019 through the first 6 games. But as happens with the Raiders, when teams build up a film on what they're doing, then their performance collapses because they don't make appropriate adjustments based on analysis. One of the big problems with the Raiders is something I pointed out again and again and again is this habit of using a variation of wide tackle 6 on third down, leaving these wide spaces between the defensive line and of course the linebackers and defensive ends several yards off the line of scrimmage, and basically saying to any running quarterback, hey, run this way, or anyone that may think of executing a draw play, do it, do it, do it. And guess what? They did it. And in the signature game that the Raiders really expected to win, but didn't, the game against Kansas City, that was the main problem. It was what allowed Patrick Mahomes to come back so seemingly magically and finish the game and leave the Raiders and Raider fans, upset with faces pouted. And then, of course, combining injuries and the COVID situation, and the defense deteriorated real quick. I don't place all the blame on Paul. I place a lot of it on the situation regarding the coronavirus and how the league handled it. That's another story. I'm not saying the league did a bad job, but it could have done a better job, and this is a bit of a digression, in forming more of a bubble similar on a stadium basis. In other words, no fans at any stadium anywhere, among other things. But I digress. Back to the main point. The Raiders' main problem is less personnel. They've got the personnel to play, okay? But it's scheme and technique. Many times their leverage is just plain wrong. They play too high. This has been a bugaboo of Raider defenses through Jack Del Rio and John Gruden. And you've got to look at the general manager and say, hey, look, are you hiring coaches that can get other coaches that teach a technique that really results in controlling the line of scrimmage? Obviously not. Look at what the Bills are doing, particularly with the offensive line, okay? I mean, it's not rocket science to figure out how to make your offensive line block better. And Dan Rakatovich, when he was the offensive line coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the legendary 70s teams, created a textbook for how teams should block today. Look at it. But I digress again. The Raiders' defense was overhauled to meet the challenge of the Chiefs. And with respect to Gus Bradley, the reason why I have no confidence in his ability to improve the Raider defense is because he's a known commodity. In other words, he's going from San Diego, all right, where he was DC, to Oakland, where he was DC. So basically, he takes the errors and mistakes of judgment in terms of formation design that were in San Diego, and he brings them to Oakland. All right? And unless he actually sees this criticism and takes it to heart, that's precisely what he's going to do again. The Raiders need someone who understands how to stop the read option style of football. Period. End of story. Okay? They could have gotten Derek Mason, who had been fired at Vanderbilt, but Derek Mason is a noted, by the coaching profession, noted expert on stopping that kind of offense. He did it very well at Stanford. Okay? With personnel was slightly better than Vanderbilt, but he did it well at Vanderbilt too. Just didn't really do an offense that, met the challenge. That's another story. So John went and hired his friends. And that's not how you win. The last time John had a great defense, he had Willie Shaw, who wasn't his friend. And John couldn't stand, apparently, his being strong-headed, minded, and all that stuff, and let it get to him. John has to understand how to be a professional coach and work with anybody, okay? Not just your friends. That doesn't produce a Vince Lombardi trophy. Subscribe to Zinni62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com.